Hello everyone, this is Anthony here and welcome to my course on keyword-based content creation and search engine marketing. Now, I've created this class to try to address a few questions that kept coming up since I released Keyword Researcher last year. Specifically, we'll be focusing on how to find keywords and long-tail keywords and on how to use these keywords to create content that search engines hopefully like. So we've got a lot to cover, but for now, let's get started with a brief introduction to keyword usage. So I think most people who will watch this course are actually already pretty familiar with the importance of keywords in search engine marketing and content creation. But in brief, the issue is this. So people in the world are searching for goods and services, and they use search engines, namely Google, as a vehicle to find stuff. Now, Google has the job of cataloging every web page in the world, and they only have 10 chances to give their customer, person on Google, what he wants. Practically speaking, people really prefer to click on only the first 3 results they see. So you can see how important ranking in Google is. And so if you create content that features these keyword phrases on your web page, then Google is more likely to feature your web page higher up in their index. You want your website to appear as high as possible. So this is a pretty simple concept at first glance. Just put keywords on your webpage and Google ranks you for those keywords. And then you get more traffic to your business and this makes you more money. That's it. That's search engine marketing, search engine optimization right there in a nutshell. But things, as we all know, get quite a bit more complicated when you start targeting more and more keywords, attempting to harvest hundreds or thousands of keywords, arranging these keywords into different pages on your website, or trying to get into the head of the person who is actually typing in these keywords on the internet. And of course, you'll be competing with other businesses who also have these same keywords in mind, and they've put these keywords on their web pages as well. So things can get pretty complex really fast. And in this course, we're going to try to go over a few techniques to hopefully give you an edge in creating your keyword optimized content. And hopefully you'll be able to create documents that feature these long tail keywords and documents that search engines love. So we're going to take a moment to talk about so-called long tail keywords. So what are long tail keywords? Well, we all realize that it's helpful to insert keywords in our website content because the search engines will look for these keywords when they're deciding how to rank our website. So if a person sold dog houses, then it would obviously make sense for this person to feature this keyword in their front page content so that he can attract people looking for dog products. Now the phrase doghouse is probably fairly competitive, and this person will have to put in a lot of effort into ranking their website for this particular keyword phrase. But as an adjunct strategy, this person could also target the more obscure keyword phrases in his niche. Phrases that are not searched for as often, that don't have as much search volume in and of themselves, but phrases that still may result in lots of traffic and sales when combined and taken in total. So these more obscure keyword phrases we're talking about here are usually called long tail keywords because they appear at the tail end of a normal search volume distribution. So the big epiphany here, and the reason why long tail keywords are discussed so much, is because in theory, when taken in aggregate, the right side of the curve, this blue side, equals the left side of the curve, the red area here. The blue area equals the red area, which is fairly surprising when you consider that the keyword doghouse, for example, was typed into Google 27,000 times last month, and the keyword doghouse for German Shepherd was only typed in 28 times last month. That's pretty small. So, but just intuitively, we can look at the fact that the red side of the curve equals the blue side of the curve, and we can see why this information is valuable to us if we sold dog houses or had a pet supply store. Because it tells us that there's a whole world of keywords living in this blue area here, which if we were to gather them all and target them on our website, could potentially make us a lot of money when taken in total. Okay, so that's the basic gist of the long tail. Now, in theory, it's a fascinating concept, but in practice, there are a couple things to take note of here. First off, as we move up and down the tail, the commercial intent of the searcher sometimes comes into question. In many niches, this red high competition area of the graph is probably demonstrably of a much higher value than the blue area. But that is tricky and is probably also a niche dependent factor. So your mileage will vary here, but just something to take into consideration. Another thing to consider is around 20 to 30% of searches are completely novel expressions that have never appeared in Google before because no one has ever typed them into Google before. So as you're harvesting these keywords, take note of the fact that they're not the end all be all, and that in actuality, a lot of your customers will ultimately find you via other keywords that cannot be accounted for simply because they have literally never existed before. So it's important to take keyword research for what it is. It is just one marketing arm of your existing business model, but it is an important one. And so you do want to feature it as a pivotal component of your complete marketing strategy. So how do we get our hands on all these great keywords? So one trick in getting a better understanding of keyword research lies in first trying to understand how Google's keyword databases work. So Google has two distinct separate databases. A lot of people don't realize this. In actuality, Google probably has thousands of keyword databases, but we'll just be talking about two. The first is the infamous Google Keyword Tool, and I think we all should be pretty much familiar with that one by now. It's the good old AdWords keyword tool, but the second database is not discussed very often, the autocomplete database. This is the database that is being accessed whenever you start typing queries into google.com. And of course, this is the database that my software, Keyword Researcher, is talking to when you use it. So the first thing to realize is that the autocomplete database is much bigger than the Google Keyword Tool database. And this becomes pretty clear when you start putting in the keywords from the autocomplete database into the Google Keyword Tool. You'll notice that a lot of them show 0 search results. Now, we know that these keywords are not really searched for 0 times per month because it wouldn't make any sense for Google to suggest these keywords to us if no one in the world was looking for them. So from this, we can infer that there must be some sort of minimal criteria that Google uses when they decide which keywords to put into the autocomplete database. So what is the criteria? Well, Google is not going to publish that, but here is my guess. So if the keyword is searched for around 100 times per month from 100 different locations, different IP addresses, then I think Google places this keyword in their autocomplete database, and it will start popping up in search results when you start typing something. Now, this is a very, very simplified rule. They probably also take into account other things like the population of the country using the particular data setter and stuff like that. But I think this is a pretty good rough ballpark figure, at least for the US database. And so the point of all this is to try to get people to understand that 0 is not 0. That just because the Google Keyword Tool is telling you that the keyword phrase has no search volume does not mean that the keyword phrase has no search volume. If it came from the autocomplete database, it was probably typed in 100 times last month. The fact that the word doesn't yet appear in the old Google Keyword Tool just means that Google hasn't seen this keyword enough times to justify putting it in their main tool. But the whole point of long-tail keyword research is that when all these low search volume keywords are considered in aggregate, then you're talking about a very large and profitable set of keywords. Now, the old Google Keyword Tool won't show you these long-tail keywords. And so if you're going to chase long tails, you really need some sort of tool like my tool, Keyword Researcher, or one of the other long-tail tools out there to actually dig into the autocomplete database and get these juicy long-tail keywords for you.